Hi, and welcome to an overview about LegalShield and IDShield, a voluntary benefit for you, your family, your employees, and we're going to also go over the legal plan for a company. So I'm going to be your host today. My name is Cheryl Garcia, and these are all the different organizations that I'm involved with in Colorado. So today what we want to do is we're going to go over why would you want to offer a voluntary benefit? Who are we? An overview of IDShield employee benefits, the overview of LegalShield, the implementation, and what are the next steps. So if you're looking through any periodicals about HR, of course, this was in January where we kind of thought, things were turning around. We're still seeing a lot of things in the workplace that are related to COVID, and probably more things every day that we see that. Sherm also talked about, with everything going on right now, that, retaining talent and attracting talent, one of the things is to look at a voluntary benefit to help enhance your benefit package. So LegalShield and IDShield, there's no indirect cost for you to offer that to your employees, but it gives them a resource for their family. Now, Willis Towers did this survey, and the fastest growing voluntary benefits, we offer 3 of the 5 voluntary benefits. So identity theft, we're going to go over that. Group legal on the right, and then pet insurance. And you may think, well, wow, they have pet insurance. We actually have pet insurance through what's called our member perks program that employees get at no cost once they enroll in the legal plan or the IDShield plan. So that's a nice feature where we can get that. Let's talk about what's going on with identity theft. I don't know about you, but I have had so many conversations and helping employees with the UI fraud claims. And, it's just, it kind of goes in waves. It comes and then it goes down. And, employees don't know what to do. They're like, hey, I still work here. Or the HR person or the business owner says, I know you still work here. Why did we get this unemployment fraud? And so identity theft is really a financial stress on employees. They don't know what to do. 40% of employers agreed that employees have asked a manager or a supervisor personal financial advice in the last year. Now, this was in 2019 that we hired this company to do this. And so as you think about all the things that have happened in the last 17 months, almost 2 years now, if something happens with identity, number one, it's lost production. Because they're stressed and they don't know what to do. So they may be taking time while they should be working, calling the DMV, calling the Social Security Administration, or they just may call in sick to deal with that, because everything like that is, all those agencies are open from 8 to 5. And so it also helps with your corporate risk or liability exposure, because you're offering an identity theft program for your employees. So if they become a victim of identity theft, problems with getting a loan, harassment from debt collectors, arrest for crimes, that's not them. Monday, I did an enrollment at a medical center, and this woman, her name is Nancy Smith. Her stepsister has the same name. And you can imagine how many Nancy Smiths there are out there, right? So the stepsister used her information and her social security number and racked up all this credit and electrical bills. Okay, but the Nancy that I talked to, she didn't know what to do. So this has been going on for years because people don't know what to do, how to fix it. 89% of employees said that owning an identity theft product would provide peace of mind, knowing that their identity is protected. So what happens if they have identity theft? It affects them at work. As I said earlier, they're calling the DMV, they're calling the credit cards, the banks. They fall victim. They're more distracted, and people are running late, and they're not what we call present. You've probably heard of presenteeism, and employees just aren't present. Physically, they're there, but mentally they are not there because they're worried about this credit card debt that they got, or they got a warrant out for their arrest and it wasn't even them. That things like that have happened. Now, IDShield is a market leader. We actually launched that in 2003, and we're getting more and more awards every day for our IDShield benefit. So LegalShield was started almost 50 years ago. We're celebrating 50 years next January, which is right around the corner. And Mr. Harlan Stonecipher, that's the person that's there, he was in a car accident. And the woman that caused the accident got the ticket. He ended up in the hospital. When he got home from the hospital, she ended up suing him. And so we've all probably been in a car accident, or we know somebody that's been in a car accident, and it's a hassle. Well, so she sues him, and he had car insurance for his car. He had health insurance when he was in the hospital. He had life insurance if something would have happened to him, but he didn't have any kind of legal insurance or any legal plan. And that's how LegalShield got started 50 years ago. So let's talk about, what does IDShield do? So first of all, we want to educate your employees that identity theft is just more than a credit card. When we started in 2003, that really was our focus, was credit cards. But now financial identity theft is only 17% of identity theft. The fastest growing identity theft is medical. What would you do if somebody used your medical insurance, racked up this bill, and then died? Joe Ryan, he lives up in Vail. He owns a small aviation company, so he flies people around. And he went to get a part for his airplane. So he calls down to Centennial, and the person that took the order, he would say, what kind of airplane do you have? What's the model number? What's your social security number? So he was interweaving all of these personal questions. Well, Joe Ryan was in a hurry. He was just giving them all the information. Well, that person became Joe Ryan, and he racked up a $50,000 medical bill, and then he died. So the real Joe Ryan had to prove that it wasn't him. And it took him over 2 years. He almost went out of business, because your social security number, if you have a business, is tied to your business with that. So IDShield does 3 things. Number one, we want to be proactive. So we do monitoring. We're going to monitor what matters most, which is there's 108 data points that we are going to be monitoring. So these are just the categories. Monday, when I was at that medical center, I said, is anybody a gamer here? And this one guy raises his hand, and I said, okay, well, it's going to also monitor 10 gaming tags. I don't know what that means, but that's how exclusive it is for looking at monitoring. So we're going to be monitoring things. Then what happens is you get a push out notification on your app, or I get emails. I'm an email person. So either way, and then we have privacy and reputation management. This is becoming a big concern for employees and employers. So think about the voice assistant's privacy. We all probably maybe have one of those voice assistants. I won't say her name because she'll ask me what I want. There's actually a function in there called Sidewalk that somebody outside of your office, outside of your home, can use your Wi-Fi. Okay, so you can call a consultant and you can go through these different things to help you so that you have more privacy. And what's new this month is Trend Microsystems. Now, I had already purchased Trend Microsystem for my office, and I pay $109 a year. That's like $9 a month for that. Now, that's included. VPN is included. So I want you to think about, have you ever went to a hotel or you went to a coffee shop and you start using their internet? It's not secure. There are people that are sitting in those coffee shops wanting and waiting for you to use that unsecure Wi-Fi. And so that's what the VNP will do. And you can have so many devices that are covered. So you can do your computer, you can do your cell phone, you can do a laptop. And then also now we have a password manager, which is great because I don't know about you, but I still a little old fashioned. All my passwords are like on an index card. Oops. But I will be going to the password because my system that I have doesn't have the password management. So those are additional features that you get. And then here's the privacy and reputation management. So we all have a reputation score. So in the portal, you go in and you connect to, like me, I'm connected to Facebook and LinkedIn. So it's looking for any kind of negative things about, maybe somebody posted about you, about drugs, alcohol, violence, or any kind of pictures also. They're not going to read your post, right? It's just looking for those specific words so that you get a push out notification on your app or the email, and then you can go in and fix it. So then the next thing you would do is call the consultant. So I just got one last week. It was about my LinkedIn account. So I called the consultant. I said, I got a push out notification about my LinkedIn. You know, what is this about? She said, oh, well, we have to get permission from you to keep connecting to the LinkedIn platform. Okay, so then, you know, I went in, I clicked it, gave them permission to that. So it's always nice to have that. Then last week, I got a push out notification about my credit score. My credit score actually increased. I had a dispute over a year ago, and the credit card finally agreed that it wasn't me. And so my credit score increased. Again, once you get that notification, you can call the consultant. If any of your employees have the UI fraudulent claims, their information has been compromised. Their information is out there. They need to have something in place to help them. Now, this consultant is important here because if they did what the state said to do, you know, go here, they have like 3 things listed on there. Well, our consultants have 6 more things that they need to do. But if they don't know that, how can they do that? And so our consultants will help them do that and make sure that everything is set up for that UI fraud. Now, the third part, this is what makes us different than any other identity theft, is the full restoration. Now, in an employer group, if you've ever had an identity theft pre-existing, it's covered. I had a woman, her daughter was going to school in Florida. And for 2 years, her daughter wasn't eligible for financial aid because 5 people were using her social security number. Well, mom signs up at work, daughter is covered because she's under 26, she's a full-time college student. The private license investigators go to work on her behalf and they clean it up in 2 weeks, right? Again, we don't know what to do. Now, that $1 million protection policy, if you ever have any kind of costs associated, like you have to travel, you have daycare, you have elder care, you have to take time off from work, that's what that $1 million protection policy is. And then, of course, you have the app. So, you know, you 24/7. So if something happened, like, you know, identity theft just doesn't happen between 8 and 5. You're at the soccer game, somebody punches out your window, takes your purse, takes your wallet, but you have your cell phone in your back pocket. You can tap the app and talk to a private license investigator to figure out what is your next step. Now, this is a new feature that, again, we just added in October. All of these features are included in one price. So we have credit counseling and education. They get counseling on all these things. Now, to get all of this, they have to get the dual, which means the LegalShield and the IDShield plan together. So who's covered on IDShield? Well, the family is covered. That would be the employee, the spouse, significant other, domestic partner, children up to the age of 26. If they're a full-time college student, never married, or 26, never married, living at home. Now, those 3 things that we went through, The monitoring, once that child turns 18, because now they're legally an adult, they have their own credit file, that's not going to be covered, the monitoring, but we can always add another policy on for them. But they still have that restoration and the consultation, like what I told you about with that student that was going to school in Florida. So let's talk about the legal plan. Why LegalShield? I think, identity theft is top of mind. We hear about stuff happening all the time. And with LegalShield, we need to teach ourselves that, hey, I am going to call an attorney. I am going to check out my rights. I'm going to find out what's my next step. It's a decision-making tool for you and for your family. So it says 50% of employees have not yet finalized their will. My experience has been like 90% of employees do not have their wills done, or they had a will when Johnny was 2, now he's 22, and they need to update it. And that's included in the benefit at no additional cost. So 90% of Americans, they don't even have any kind of legal protection. 60% would be interested, and 70% of the employees use it 3 times a year. So identity theft and legal plans, they're cost effective. Number one, we want you to use this benefit, and it's easy implementation. So we have a LegalShield resource center. We can send you the link to that. You can send it out to your employees. It's free, but it has different, our attorneys put this together, this resource center. And so again, we have to change our mindset and start thinking about, legal is really life events plan, not a legal plan. Because sometimes people go, well, a legal plan, I'm not really in legal trouble. But these are life event issues that happen to us. And now, everywhere from, we're a teenager and we get a speeding ticket. Then we graduate and we go to college, or we get our first job and we're getting new credit cards, or we're going to be renting an apartment and then we don't get our security deposit back. And then we're going to get married and all those contracts that you're signing. And then you're having a baby and now you have a house and now you need a will. So all of these things are life events that we can help you with. So LegalShield gives you the ability to talk to an attorney on any personal matter without worrying about the high hourly cost, because an attorney costs anywhere from $250 to $350 an hour. And so why do people not seek legal counsel? Well, they're intimidated by attorneys. They don't know who to call. They believe it would cost too much, because it does, right? So then they don't do anything with it. So now they can. I love this little cartoon. We don't want our employees doing a DIY, do-it-yourself project with all of their little legal problems, or life events that are happening, because now they can have access to a law firm. So what makes us different is every state has a dedicated law firm. Our law firm is Riggs Abney, and I'll show you their picture in a second. So these are all the features of the legal plan. So they can call and get unlimited advice. That's really the first step. Call and find out, what are your rights? What are your next steps? Now we have what's called an amendment, which means that the employees cannot use it against the employer. It is optional. All my clients check that box. And then if you have contracts up to 15 pages, once they talk to the attorney, if they fill a letter or a phone call is the next step. That's included. Again, wills, living wills, healthcare power of attorney. We saw a 70% increase last year in our employees' benefit getting their wills done, because we just don't know when something might happen. Traffic ticket assistance on moving violations. It's all about the points. And so our goal is to help you reduce points on a traffic ticket so your insurance rates don't go up. Or if you have drivers, that your company insurance doesn't go up if they're driving for that. We have family domestic services. That's uncontested. That means that both parties agree. That's the only part that has a 90-day waiting period. So you just tap the app. So there's 2 ways that you can connect to the law firm. One is you can go on the app and you can pick the time and date that you want to have the attorney call you. Or you can call a 1-800 number and then they will call you back within 4 hours. This is our law firm, Riggs Avenue. They're in Cherry Creek. We have 35 attorneys on staff. So every state has a dedicated law firm. So employees have access to every dedicated law firm in every state. So last year I was doing some things with my parents. They live in Wisconsin. I was looking at buying some real estate. And so I was able to call the Wisconsin law firm, all part of my benefit, no additional cost to get that information. So the average firm tenure is 19 years and the average lawyer experience is 22 years. So level of services, if you were to call an attorney, who says they're going to call you back, our attorneys have to call you back within 4 hours. They have to do your will in 5 days. If they're going to review a document, they have up to 3 business days. It may not take that long. So who's covered? Well, the employee, the spouse, again, the same thing. Now on the legal plan, we just have one legal plan. On IDShield, it's individual or family. So same coverage there for the legal plan. So this is the monthly group rate that we offer. So the legal plan is $21.95. Individual IDShield is $12.95. And family IDShield is $22.95. And then you can bundle those together. And again, there's no indirect cost to you. We can customize a website. That's no cost to you either, where employees can sign up on the website. We can come in and do a lunch and learn. We can come in during a staff meeting, a safety meeting. I work a lot with CDOT and I go to their safety meetings because they're like and I give tips on identity theft. So that's a safety issue. Okay, so I talked about the pet insurance that's included in member perks. So there's over 450 additional discounts if you're enrolled in legal or IDShield, either one. So that's included. Then we have a commercial driver's plan. Now this legal plan is specifically for that driver. It's for their livelihood. It's for everything that happens while they're in the truck. So this is a good benefit for their livelihood. It helps with the company. If you have CSA, which are rates that you have, then this would be a good thing to offer. So easy implementation. Again, as I said earlier, we're going to enhance your benefit package, less distraction in the workplace. We can complement a financial wellness and simple administration. So there's no long-term contract. We have a portal called LegalShield at work. The rate is stable, so they can port it. So if they leave, again, they can't use it against the employer, large participation, and no underwriting. So we have all these different types of ways that we can do an enrollment. And I said earlier, like a website, we're not pre-tax. So that means that we can offer this benefit at any time. So if you're going through open enrollment right now, we can do that. We can start it before open enrollment. We can do that at any time to get that set up for you. So we do have some supplements. We are finding that a gun owner supplement is very popular. We do have a teacher plan, a police officer plan. So let's take a couple minutes about the business plan. Now, take the same concept that we talked about, the dedicated law firm, pick up the phone, you pay a one-time monthly fee, and you have access to the law firm to help you, because all of these things that are happening, the biggest thing I'm finding right now is, are you meeting OSHA regulations? Do you have an employee handbook? Somebody says I had a daycare and the employee came back from a COVID test and said it was negative. Well, the county called the employer and it wasn't negative, it was positive. She had to shut down her business for 2 weeks, loss of income. So we need to, as business owners, we need to find out, what do we do in these situations? I had a landscape company and he had an employee that had a drinking problem. after you talk to the attorney, it's like, no, you can't fire him because that's covered under ADA. Who knew that? Okay, so, and you may have other people in your company that make decisions, and they can have access also to this legal plan. So depending on the tier that you get, you can have interstate, the employee handbook, customized contracts. And these are the different tiers that we have. So whoever invited you onto this webinar, we would like to get you additional information if that fits. You do need to have it's for-profit business, not traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So the next steps are to get your questions answered, schedule an enrollment. And then also, like I said, we can do off cycle, we can customize it for your work environment. So a safety meeting, a team meeting, a staff retreat, whatever would work best for you. So I want to thank you for taking some time today to learn more about our voluntary benefit, LegalShield and IDShield, to wrap a wall of protection around you and your family.